Alright, today's the day. This bumper's coming off, and we'll start fitting up this one. Dimensions are pretty much the same from side to side. What I'm not sure of is these brackets, and what I'm betting I'm going to have to do is notch right here for that. Because the problem is, Trailready doesn't make one for an 88 to 98 anymore, so this is for a 99 and up. But the dimensions are basically the same. It may be 3/4 of an inch wider overall. It's definitely a little bit deeper by about an inch or so, but I think I've got the room to suck that up. As you can see, I've got at least an inch there. But so it's not going to be just a direct fit, bolt on, bolt off kind of thing. So it's going to be a little bit of fabrication work. I'm hoping those spacings still maintain consistent spacings between the ear groups, knowing full well it's two different frames. So I may end up cutting those brackets off and welding my own in. I hope not. I'm hoping those are exactly spaced off, and all I got to do is drill new holes. If it's that way, then I'm lucky and I'm happy. I'm wondering, I'm looking at this, I'm wondering about my exhaust tailpipes. Let you look, it does cut up here. So they may have the room clearance there, maybe, maybe not, I'm not sure. The whole step portion of it is wider on the Trailready bumper than it is there, which is probably a good thing, because that gives you a lot more options for some of the other things, like you can put the toe light attachment points in there. But we'll see. It does also come with some aluminum diamond tread that'll go here and on top. You can see the holes pre-drilled for it already. It's going to be a pretty slick bumper, but it's not just going to be an easy on and off. Or off and on. But yeah, let's get to it. Alright, that took some doing. When it's on there, to get it off, you basically, look at this one, that one kind of broke. There's a captured nut there. I don't know if it fell off. That one's welded on. But you get those two off, you got two here. And to get those, it's got the impact gun up underneath. Get a breaker bar with a socket on this side, up through that gap that you've got between the fuel tank and the tow bar, and that's how you get to those. What I'm looking at, I haven't pulled the tape on it yet, but that bolt pattern does look like that bolt pattern, so it may very well be the best. I got some issues in the wiring. I got to clean up some corrosion and crap going on, and I'm going to put some more split loom to protect things. I'm going to clean all that up. But this thing, that's a lot more rust than a Southwest truck should have. I mean, you look at this bumper, that's just rusted and gone. I mean, there's no rust through, it's all surface, but it's way worse, and the chrome was all peeling off because you can see that here, all that chrome peeling off. But this is because, that's what I was talking about, those capture nuts that are on there, they're on the bumper itself. But it was like that because the original exhaust shop that did the work before I bought the truck had a downturn here. Instead of coming straight out past the bumper, there was a downturn, which means all your fumes are coming up in this area, and exhaust is a beautiful catalyst for rust. You know, I don't see anything really structurally wrong with anything in here. It's just all surface rust. I could hit it up with something, and I don't know, I might clean up out here, get the vacuum out here and just hit it with some rusty metal primer or something before I'm done in here. I'm going to pull these lights off, and those, remember, are just in my own little harness that's from a trailering wire kit, so I can totally pull those lights out. And those I'm going to make provisions for on this bumper. Backup lights, we've got them pulled off as well. That's what these harnesses are for. But they'll cut in right about there. But I'm going to do more than just a cut in, not just a surface mount on this one. I want to recess them a little bit. So this was step one, get the bumper off, check and see. We'll pull the tape and see if that actually fits, and put it up there and see if it fits too. But the other issue I've got is I think I have to go get new lights. The ones for like the 2000 and up. Someone's got a noisy diesel. But that looks like for something like the 2000 and up Suburbans. So I may have to go get one of those light kits. It doesn't fit the lights off of this truck, which is fine for me anyway, because the lights off of this truck You know, the ones that came factory with one of these trucks, they're chrome anyway, and so I want ones that are paintable. Alright, so all this wiring I'm repairing. Some of these things, sometimes they've got punctures in when the crimp happens. And that's what I found on the old connection, so I'm putting a whole new connection for the trailer on. Repaired a bunch of the wires up in here, but what I'm doing is the heat shrink connectors here with a double jacket of extra heat shrink on top of it. This is in the back of the truck where, you know, it's spitting up all the freaking road grime and everything else so everything gets back here. A lot of stuff to get to, you have to pull off the freaking bumper to get to it again. This heat shrink won't go down because you go from this big fat gauge, it's like almost 8 gauge wire. That ground wire is so thick because the trailer brake stuff is thick, but I'm not using trailer brakes. That's the license plate lamps. But so yeah, double jacketing like that, try to keep all the water corrosion. And here in you know, in the Rocky Mountains up in Colorado and Utah and Wyoming, they use magnesium chloride. And if that stuff gets to your electrical, you're done for. You have to rewire everything. That's why I end up putting a lot of these new ends on a lot of times. But yeah, I'm going to clean all this up. I had a little bit of melting here on this because it must have hit the exhaust, so I'm going to keep everything up higher and out of the way. I need to lengthen this ground wire. That doesn't give me enough, so I'm going to splice in some wire on that. I think on the other one, yeah, I've got plenty of length on the other one. It'll run all the way over there. So I'll split loom this stuff. Oh, that's the hard thing is I want to put the bumper up, but I want to make sure this wiring is all tight and watertight and good to go before I do any of that. But yeah, that's what I'm up to. All right, here we go. All right, so similar, yeah, but not the same. The stamping on here says GM, so it's obviously a stock GM plate, but they certainly put it in for the 2000 and newer trucks, because from here to here measures at 36 5/8. This one from here to here, it's like 42 and maybe 3/16. So I got to cut those brackets off. Those brackets can still be used. I'm absolutely going to have to notch here, but the other thing I'm running into is these pipes. Either I drop them, which I'd rather not do, or I notch. The problem is they come out right here where the clevis pin is. So it means I cut those off too, which actually does make sense to cut those off so that they line up with the bracket and so that any force on them is on the frame. So wish they hadn't welded all this stuff in, because that's a lot. They've got something good like a Miller-Matic or something. I've just got a Lincoln 220. So their welder's way better than mine. They're laying fat beads in there. Cutting that off is not going to be fun. But that's where I have to go now. I have to cut that off. So now we get to the next stage of this operation where I really start fabricating to make this fit. And then probably go by the parts store and see if that light, if I can just get those off the shelf. And I saved all my additional lights and stuff there under there. And then we'll start fabricating what I want in here. But yeah, I'm going to start marking it all up for where I need to be and what I need to be doing. I need to pull out a paint pen, that's what I need, not a Sharpie. But yeah, let me get back to it. So it's not a direct fit. And here we go. Alright, been out for a minute, went downtown. Oh, kind of downtown, 2100 South in Salt Lake to Metal Supermarket to get all these pieces of steel that I need to do what I want to do. I think we're going to leave all of this for tomorrow. I'm going to cut those brackets off, slide them over. You can see I've done my markings on there. I know where I need to go. But all of this steel, these 4 pieces of steel I got, probably would have cost me 60 bucks. Well, you can't even get this stuff at Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever. But all of this stuff, less than 25 bucks. At Metal Supermarket down on 2100 South, like right on I-15 and 2100 South is basically where it's at. Good place, I love going there. Haven't been there since I was working on the bumpers on my S10, but so we went down there, and come to find out, Equipped Outfitters is right next door to him now, so we had to stop there. We definitely had to stop. Those guys got all the great toys. But yeah, green tape actually seems to be sticking. I mean, I did the first layer down there with just duct tape, because that's traditionally how I've been making the masking work on the Line-X. But I've gone in here, and I took the wire brush, scrubbed everything the best I could, cleaned it all out, and then hit it with Duplicolor's fixed rust reformer stuff. Waiting for that to dry. When I originally painted all of this stuff down low, the bumper was still on, so not all of that's been penetrated. Gotta wait for that to evaporate off. So I scuffed all that up, washed it off, scuffed all of this stuff up, so I'm gonna hit everything with some black. I'm just gonna use some of the bed coating, blacken everything up. I figure, get this taken care of while I've got it apart. I don't know that here in Utah that's much of a problem. Sorry, fumes are getting me. Let me step away from the fumes. Holy cow. It's not that big of a problem. It's not like my truck's going to rust out. I live in a freaking desert. But that's just me being fastidious. Fastidious? I don't know what that word is again. It's what they used to call me in college, saying I'm a neat freak. But yeah, I want to clean that up and give it a good coating. That way I know it's not a problem. I'm going to give the trailer hitch another coating because I scuffed that too. And just make sure everything's all covered in that black bed liner so it's protected. Just thinking, what's it look like in here? All of this has been sprayed with straight up undercoating, and I've done that a couple of times, so that's probably 3 or 4 layers of that. So I'm not worried about that in there. There's still a lot of dirt in there too, so I'm just waiting on that to dry, and then I'll coat it. But yeah, so my plan here, they didn't have any in the remnants. They got a whole room full of remnants there at Metal Supermarket. They didn't have bent C-channel, so bent plate C-channel, which, what I want for the bent plate C-channel is so it has a rounded corner like this, right? So what I plan on doing is basically cutting. This is gonna be a tedious task tomorrow. There's the weld seam there, so I'll cut just shy of that, and I'm gonna cut it on down both sides and make my C-channel, and this piece is just big enough to fit here. But what I want to do is put a recessed portion in here, and you got a good freaking 6-7 inches in here, so a 4-inch piece like this, I can put that in there nice and neat and have a recessed portion in there. And since this has got all kinds of radiuses and rounds and bends on it, I wanted something that's rounded like this. Because the other thing is I bought this C-channel because I'm going to weld it on here, on that piece there, and that gives me a channel to put those strip lights in that are over there. The ones that used to be on the back of the Suburban, they'll go in that C-channel nice and neat. I just weld this on flush with that. There we go, all blackened up. Nice protective coat of bed liner, didn't even use a full can. Got all those edges that I didn't get before. And this Duplicolor stuff, I prefer it over the Rust-Oleum bed liner. It seems to last longer in my experience. Been using it for 20 years. I mean, they changed the cans, changed the formulations just a little bit. But yeah, blacken all that stuff up. Give it a coating that protects it from corrosion a little bit. So I feel like I'm taking care of this as much as I can right now, without really dropping the tank and fully going after it. But yeah, simple grocery bags over the exhaust tips to keep them clean. The wiring's all in the way, so just do the best you can with that is all I could do. I'm going to strip off and let it dry for a little bit more and then strip off all the masking. And I think that's where I'm going to call it a day. For me to be tomorrow, you guys a couple seconds. For the good people at Trailready, I will apologize for what you're about to see. But I'm a combat engineer. I don't leave things unmodified. I take good things, and this is a good thing. This bumper is awesome. And I modify them. I already cut this notch in here. I'm looking at it, that line needs to be redone. I need to straighten that out. So I'll straighten that out, so rounded it in. That notch is for the hitch. And now I'm about to grind off these welds. I'm gonna grind them off. They're pretty dang good welds. Man, they look good. Good thick penetration in there too. I do like that I'm getting GMT 800 light, and I just ordered those bezels for them, because that is a better system than what's on the GMT 400. You can actually pop it out from the outside without having to remove the bumper. Once you've got a tow bar on here, you cannot get to those lights without some seriously Gumby arms to get up in that gap and back behind there. Trust me, I've tried. My arm's skinny, but not skinny enough. So GMT 400s have a clip that holds it on. GMT 800s, the housing itself clips into here. So I'm looking forward to that. Like I said, those are on order. They arrive tomorrow. And that way, by the time I've got this all painted up, I can put my license plate lights in and be good to go. But yeah, so I've already started. What I did was I drilled 2 holes with like a 3/8 inch drill and then cut into there and did some grinding here. This notch should fit. I do want to straighten this one up. This one looks canted in this way. I need to straighten it out. But I'll do that. Yeah, good bumper. Love it. Very well put together. Trailready's definitely worth the money in my mind. I love my front bumper. This one's every bit as well built. But yeah. I was thinking if I didn't have that fuel tank there, that is enough room to back mount a winch. I would probably weld in a couple more stanchions and supports on it to do it, but there's enough room there. So if you're putting this on a Silverado, you can totally do that. Totally, there's enough room to back mount. It won't be a big wrench for the rear, like an 8,000 pound maybe. I don't think you can put a 12 there. Maybe not. I haven't measured. But you could totally face mount one to the back and cut yourself out a fair lead there. That's a thought for those of you looking this for a Silverado, that you actually have that space. Me, I have a gas tank, no space for that. So, all right, I'm gonna get back at it. That's a testament to how well they welded these things on. Burnt one Sawzall blade, got through another one. Basically what I needed to do was release it on this plane and this plane so I could work at this plane. Plasma cutter. Boy, would I love a plasma cutter. But yeah, very good welds. Here's a fun one. I really got to get some gauntlet gloves for this kind of work. There's all that crap all over my arms. That means I got some burnt arms. Just one little skin knuckle. I don't know how that happened. Okay, so I figured if they can do that with tiles, if they can cut circle holes with angle grinders and a diamond blade with tiles, you can probably do it with steel and a cutoff blade. First attempt, it's a massive butchery. I'll have to clean that all up with a grinder, make it nice and flat, and but it does. I dug in there a nice round hole, so now I just got to grind it out. Second attempt is slightly cleaner. Figured that same technique I tried out on the metal, and it seems to have worked. I just need to flip this thing and grind all that clean, and that should be, and I don't know where my GoPro cut out, but I used basically a roll of frog tape because it's slightly bigger than my 3.5-inch tips to actually draw me a circle there, and use the level to figure out exactly how far above the hitch I need to be. I'm kind of guessing in a lot of ways right here. This may not be a deep enough circle, and if not, I'm going to cry because I have to do even more butchery. But if you're going to play this game, if you're going to get one of these bumpers, tell them to leave, well, forget that part. Tell them to leave these parts off for you. If you're doing a GMT 400, so an 88 to 98, when you're speaking to Matt Armstrong there at Trailready Bumpers, tell him leave all 4 of these parts off. He obviously for me shipped it raw, so I'll figure out coating myself. Like I said, I'm gonna take care of that with truck bed primer, but have them leave all 4 of those parts off. Just form the bumper up. If you don't have the exhaust coming out the rear like I do, you probably don't need to do this, but I would say you probably do need to notch that just to fit your hitch, as long as you got the factory style hitch like I do. If you don't, then any which way, it's a nice way to go. However, just holy cow, they got dang good penetration with this stuff. And I'll grind that smooth the best I can. But they had really good penetration for those things, so just another testament to their quality of workmanship, what they do at their shop. Now I'm going to spend a copious amount of grinder wheel cleaning those up. Man, not the prettiest way to go about this, but it's what I'm doing. Any which way, I wish they just still built these off the shelf for the GMT 400s. There's plenty of us out there, but obviously not enough people asking them to send them to them, so they don't make them. But everything 2000 and newer, they'll ship straight to you. Alright, we test fitted it, and then I ended up having to cut these a little bit deeper. Fun thing is this one is at a different height than that one, so I cut them for the higher of the two, and I may do something to raise that one, I don't know. Test fitting it, I didn't need to notch all the way down to the base plate here, probably could have come up to there, but it'll work, it'll be fine. I think I'm learning the technique here for actually getting this done. I need to dig out my flap well, and this is really rough. Get the flap wheel out and actually sand all that down. The other thing in test fitting it is those brackets are not any. This kills me. You look at them like, oh, it'll work, because you got up and down, you got side to side, in the holes there. Can you see that? I don't know. And you pick them up. And you see what I'm seeing? They don't work. They're actually crisscross from each other, and I need the bumper to be out to here. So I'll work with these and I'll reinforce them and all that, but this is not going to happen. I'm going to have to re-drill new holes for them. But the other thing is, this would have sat in here about there, but I need it to be, well, it's on that mark. I need it to be out to here, not into here. It needs to be out to here, which leaves me a considerable gap there. So I'm going to look at this and see how I'm going to do that. I may cut a piece of this bracket off, because obviously if I'm only going to use it, whoops, flip it. I'm going to use it to here. I don't need all that bottom wing. That bottom wing down there can go off. I can cut that, get it in there, with this being a slant, I can get some on the back side of the plate there to go from the plate to here, and then some coming out this way to the bumper. But yeah, I'll have to brace it all, which is why I bought a couple different pieces of steel, looking at what I thought I might need or might use, and just got what I could. So I got that round stock, I got a little bit of flat bar, I got some angle iron, I got that piece of square tube. I haven't even got to that part of the project yet. This is not going to be a 2-day project. Golly. I might be working on this again on Monday. I'm going to do as much as I can today. Alright. Metal Supermarket didn't have bent plate C-channel, which is what I wanted, just because of that rounded edge shape. So, square tube that they did have, cut those 2 strips out of it and make myself 2 bent plate C-channels. Purpose of which, those lights will sit recessed in more like this way, but I'll cut me out some squares in there, weld those in, put some holes in here, 2 hole saws. I have that hole saw size, I forget what it is, it's a very specific one, it's like 2 3/8 or something crazy like that. I bought the hole saw specifically to make those holes, but yeah. So I'll weld these 2 C-channel type pieces on the back side of here, and that way I can get my backup lights back in there. And yes, the easier way would be just to have Trailready go ahead and do the cutouts that they do here. But I don't want round lights. I already got these lights. So, you know, combat engineer that I am, here I go. I'm doing my own thing. But yeah, bent plate C-channel, when you don't have some, can be made out of square tube. That way, gives me that, oh, still hot. Gives me that radiused edge inside there instead of the sharp edge that those get. Should give it kind of a cool look too, to have that little recessed spot in there for those. The hole should stay on the inside from here to here in that space. I'll drill holes so I get a nice rounded edge there, and then cut. I'll do a plunge cut with that saw again, or saw, but angle grinder. It's crazy, I'm doing all the cutting and grinding today. I haven't even fired up the welder at all today. Alright, what a mess. Look at all that grinder stuff everywhere. But yeah, got them opened up. Nice and neat. Found my flap disc to clean up all the rough grinding. They're not perfect, but they'll work for me. But yeah, Got those cut in. Do the C-channels welded in. I think I'm pretty much done with cutting and grinding, exception of the plates. Some of that steel is probably going to go back into the bumper to reinforce those plates. Waste not, want not. But yeah, I'm pretty beat for today. I haven't eaten since Cheerios this morning. I'm sweating it out. So I think I'm done for today. I'm going to clean up, put the Suburban back in. What you saw there, how I do the plunge cuts like that, it didn't come out perfect. I got a couple of those drill holes that wandered on me. One of these days I'll get a center punch, right? And actually be able to punch my holes. I do like that flap disc. Actually cleans things up a heck of a lot better. There's some rough edges need to be gone over still. But you know what I ought to do is test fit this, because I haven't done that yet. I think that's the last thing I'll do today. I'm going to clean up in here, we'll test fit this, and we'll see exactly what we've got. Yeah, I'm going to clean up. And then for you it'll be a couple seconds, for me it'll be the next day when I get back to this.